I mean, this presentation doesn't have 20 photographs in it. It has, like, I think somewhere between 350 and 400 photographs in it.
Yeah. What does that mean to you that, like, in pop culture, in the Dead circle, your work has become just as synonymous with Dead culture as the music that you love, too?
So it means a couple things to me. A, I'm incredibly proud of the body of work that I've created, but maybe more importantly, I feel very, very fortunate that my work resonates with a large number of people. And that's because of social media. You know, I think that if social media didn't exist today, my work wouldn't go as far and as wide as it has gone now, right? And so I've reached a lot more people. And just like your words, when you write something, my photographs are touching a nerve. They're tapping into something. And so, it's a combination of me, being sort of last man standing, right? I'm still doing this. I'm still shooting. I'm still relevant. I'm still making new images that are connecting to people. But I also have, the 40-year archive to back it up. I'm not a flash in the pan. I'm not, jumping on the bandwagon today. Hey, like I can afford a $3,000 digital camera, and I'm going to go start taking photos of everything I can. It's like this is in my heart, in my soul, and in my blood.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like you knew a long time ago that hell or high water, this is what you were going to do.
Say that again?
Like you knew, you had a conversation with yourself a long time ago that hell or high water, this is what you were going to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely not at the very beginning, but I would say by the mid-'80s when I, had to actually figure out how to start adulting and pay my own rent and pay my own bills. And I was like, okay, I can go and get some job that I hate somewhere. I can go work in a film lab or a camera store or, something in the photography business or assist other people, or I could go out and try and make this a reality because this is what I really love to do, and I can go and work hard, and that's what I did to create that career for myself.
Well, what's your take on the festival circuit? Because, you and I have been in the scene for a while, but now it's, 20 years ago, a festival was a unique thing, but now there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. Have we diluted the beauty of the festival, or is it the more the merrier?
I think that, boy, that's a tricky one. Have we diluted it?
Or is it the more the merrier?
I don't know if it's the more the merrier. I think it's become a less unique experience, but I still think it could be a really fun experience, right? So I think that people choose their festivals now. And, I still think that there's a lot of regional festivals that just attract regional people. I think there's still a lot of national festivals, like a festival like Lock-In, to me, Peach Festival, Lock-In Festival, Mountain Jam, things like that attract our jam band community. I mean, there used to be Gathering of the Vibes and, other smaller festivals like in the jam band world. But I think that you can still go to these festivals and have a really, really magical experience because, like for instance, last year at Lock-In, there was so Lock-In Festival is, based on these unique collaborations, right? And it's kind of been like that since the beginning, right? So for instance, a couple of years ago was Widespread Panic with John Fogerty, and then they did Widespread Panic with Steve Winwood, and they did the Leon Russell Mad Dogs and Englishmen with Tedeschi Trucks, and last year they did Trey from Fish with Derek Trucks with Tedeschi Trucks Band, and then they did Derek Trucks with the Trey Band. And those shows were absolutely mind-boggling. I don't know if you watched it or were there, but the second one, which was Trey playing with Tedeschi Trucks, and they played all of Layla and other assorted love songs, Derek and the Dominoes. I mean, we've heard that song Layla 5 million times, 5,000 times in our lifetime, right? I'm 58 years old. I've been listening to that song probably since it came out, or slightly after, right? And you've heard that song thousands of times. You've heard that song so many times that it might come on the radio, and you might actually turn it off because you're like, oh, my God, it's sort of like I've heard Layla again. Okay, when they played Layla at Lock-In, and Derek Trucks started playing the slide part, the Dwayne Allman slide part, I started crying. It was just, it was the most incredible musical moment. And that's what festivals bring to you, right? That's what Locken brings to you, and other festivals also. But, Locken sort of prides themselves on these unique collaborations. Yeah. And I think there's going to be some cool ones this year also.
Well,
so I think that, yes, the festival thing is different. And because there's so many, I think that financially it makes it harder for the festivals because people can go see live music in their neighborhood instead of traveling 6 or 8 or 10 or 20 hours.
Yeah.
But I think if you want to go and see the really, really unique things, you sometimes have to travel and spend the money and have those experiences. And I think they're well worth it. I don't think anybody that went to Locken last year walked away saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe I spent a few $1,000s for that and all I got was Layla."
Well, in your opinion, what that song epitomizes not only the band and its audience, but also the ethos of the music?
Say that one more time. Is that a question?
Yeah. What song, in your opinion, would epitomize?
What song? I didn't hear you say what song. What song, in my opinion? Okay, ask the question again.
What song epitomizes not only the band and its audience, but also the ethos of the music?
Are you talking specifically about the Grateful Dead?
Yeah.
Well, that's really a hard thing to answer. Since we lost Robert Hunter just a few months ago, I think that people are tapping into this music in an even deeper way.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's necessarily, relating to Robert Hunter's passing, but one of the things that I talked about in my slide presentation is that when we listen to these songs that are written by Robert Hunter, these songs that are like deep, deep, deep in our DNA,
yeah,
right? And that we know every word and every lick and every beat, when we listened to these songs when we were 25 years old, some of these songs meant something to us. And by the time we turned 35, those same songs meant something different to us. And when we turned 45, those songs meant something different to us again. So as we grow, as we mature, those songs have matured with us, and the meanings of those songs have slightly changed, right?
Yes.
And so it's hard to pick a song. There are songs the Grateful Dead didn't write that have deep meaning because of experiences we have. Like take a song like Morning Dew, which is a cover tune, that's about an apocalyptic nuclear holocaust, but one of the most classic, highly coveted songs of the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Think about that, right? A few years ago when Phil Lesh was celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Grateful Dead at Terrapin Crossroads, he played a song, a show from each year in the band's career with a set list from that year or songs from that year. And before each one of those shows, Phil had me interview him on stage in front of the audience about that year, right? You can find all this on YouTube if you want to go look at it. And so I used to start out my interviews with Phil and talk about like stats, like this is how many shows the Grateful Dead played in this particular year. This is how many songs they played. This is how many times they played Eyes of the World, or the most played songs were Eyes of the World and Me and My Uncle. And then I would end it every time with, and the Morning Dew report is 6 Morning Dews in that year, 9 Morning Dews, 1 Morning Dew. Again, this is a cover tune, but this song meant so much to us, and it was such a coveted song that we wanted to hear, right? So, what song, epitomizes the Grateful Dead experience? It could be anything from a Scarlet Begonias to an Eyes of the World.
Yeah.
Look at the lyrics of these songs. Once in a while you get shown the light in the strangest of places if you look at it right. Sometimes we live no particular place but our own. Light the song with sense and color, hold away despair. There's so many lyrics and so many songs that touch our souls as Deadheads so deeply that there really cannot be, a song. The Highway to Moon, the Stars and the Clouds. Black Throated Wind, Bob Weir. What a great line written by Barlow, right?
Yeah.
These lyrics mean so much and are so deep. And there's a lot of deep songwriters out there on the planet, but I don't think that any of I think there's very few at the level of Robert Hunter.
Yeah.
There's a Bob Dylan, there's a Robert Hunter, you know, and I'm not sure if there's anybody that compares to the two of them.
Well, and what's really cool is that it does circle back to what we love about The Dead and also live music in general, that it's a pick-your-own-adventure book.
Absolutely.
It's just one of those things. But so my last question for you is, you know, you've been able to travel the world and photograph it and interact with people from all walks of life throughout your career. What is that experience and all those adventures and all those people? What does that touch about what it means to be a human being?
So the reason why I've had a lot of the adventures that I've had in the way that I've had them is because of a camera, right? So the camera has given me entree into these worlds that most people never get to see or experience. And so I treat that as this grand privilege for one, but I also recognize how important it is for me to do my job properly and to be able to come back with, you know, not be a fanboy, right? Come back. But it's given me the ability to see these musicians that we all love so much and whose music, and that, you know, and that's not just the Grateful Dead, it's Neil Young and Carlos Santana, and, you know, and you know, the list goes on and on. You know, I've gotten to spend time with some of these people and gotten to know these people, and I think these people are incredibly creative, prolific people that want to bring that joy to their communities of their fans. And I think that, you know, without music and without dancing to music, life is pretty fucking gray and boring.
True that.
You know? And I think that's it. And I think that all of this, you know, all of this music and all of these shows and all of these festivals that are created by all of these people enrich our lives beyond, you know, anything that you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.